Empire. English soccer fans will return to the premier pitches with some new tech.
When we talk about a matchday experience, we're talking about people who are coming to our stadium or visiting St Mary's on a match day or on an event. So finding a partner who was able to offer us the opportunity to provide an enhanced experience for people involved, but also have a different experience for those fans and those people not able to attend a match was the perfect approach for us.
That's Luke Nicholson, brand and content director of Southampton FC, as the Premier League readies for a return to normalcy. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. Luke Nicholson and Adam Goodyer were working together to build engagement through mobile technology, and that was happening at a rapid pace pre-pandemic. Of course, the last year plus made everyone in big-time sports shift gears away from the matchday experience to just having any experience. But it's come full circle now, we hope, as doors are opening. Our guests this week are Luke Nicholson, who's the brand and content director for Southampton FC, and Adam Goodyer, who is the founder and CEO of Realife Tech, as we get set to bring the fans back to the stadiums, into sports, and all the changes that come with that. Thank you both for joining us.
Thanks for having us. Pleasure to be here.
Thank you.
Adam, tell us a little bit about Realife Tech. What do you guys do?
Sure. So Realife Tech is a technology company that specializes in the mobile experience for sports teams and entertainment destinations. And our particular focus is on taking all of the different data elements that exist within these entities to bring those together to create a single view of that fan, and then be able to improve their experience of interacting with the club through mobile, with a particular focus, although not exclusively, on that in-stadium experience, which is really, really important, especially with the return from COVID. And we've been delighted to work with Southampton FC on their vision for this product, as well as helping fans to return to St Mary's.
Okay, Luke. So he had mentioned they're working with your vision on this. Can you kind of take us through that? What your vision is in working together?
The role the role that I have is around, in part meeting the expectations of our fans, and then ideally surpassing them. And I think from a vision perspective for the partnership and the app is to provide content in a way that meets and surpasses our fans' expectations. But I think, as Adam talked about, how we enhance the matchday experience is a critical factor of our thinking, and working with Realife Tech, who have a track record of coming at digital products that help do exactly that are geared towards enhancing a matchday experience, is exactly why we felt they were the right partner for us. And I think when we talk about a matchday experience, we're talking about people who are coming to our stadium or visiting St Mary's on a match day or on an event. But also a match day increasingly, is a digital experience. So finding a partner who was able to offer us the opportunity to provide an enhanced experience for people involved, but also have a different experience for those fans and those people not able to attend a match was the perfect approach for us, as we look to try and make both of those groups of fans meet their expectations.
Can you tell me, Luke, a little bit more specifically what you mean? Are you talking about concessions? Are you talking about potential for more statistical analysis being offered to them? Gambling? Like, what are we talking about here as you try to enhance the experience?
So I think from a match day perspective, in terms of a fan attending, I think you're always looking to make the experience as positive as possible. So there's a bit in the middle of a match day that I've got zero control over, and that's what happens, in the 90 minutes where a match is being played. So we might win a game, we might lose a game, but what we talk about a lot at the club is how we control the controllables, and that's not unique to us as a football club or a sports organisation. But I think increasingly people's expectations of an event or an experience are growing. And so how do we make sure that a fan attending is having a good time and has a positive experience with us as a club and as a brand, or as a retailer, or as a food and beverage purveyor or a retail store? What can we do to make that experience as positive as possible? So there's seamless interactions and seamless experiences around using the mobile app as a ticket. In theory, a fan can now use their app and their mobile device as a way of entering the stadium through the app. But they'll also be able to order food and beverage through the app as well. And then on top of that, we'll also now be able to provide personalized and targeted messaging and alerts, and therefore offers to people attending a game. So, the theory being that if we win a game and a player scores a goal, we could potentially send an alert out to everyone who's in that stadium, offering them a discount and an offer to purchase a shirt or an item from the retail store, all in real time and all as a response to what's going on the pitch, and therefore enhancing that experience within the ways we can control.
Adam, let's talk about the modern fan, and I want to get into COVID with all of this because clearly the pandemic has given you both a lot of time to think about a return from fans to live sporting events. But as you kind of survey what the modern fan wants out of a game day experience, what have you learned about the modern fan?
Yeah, it's an excellent question, and it's something that both we at Realife and with our clients have thought and researched extensively. What we see the modern fan wants is a frictionless experience. They want to be able to enjoy the action. They want to be able to do that safely, and they want to be able to minimize the things that we've all experienced in large sporting or entertainment events that get in the way of that. So, waiting in line, not knowing where to go to get the things that you want, not having easy access to your ticket, not being able to have the best view if that is available. And what digital technology enables is for those friction points to be removed. And as Luke was talking about, what we've been developing with Southampton is a way to remove those friction points. Getting that ticket onto your phone. And what we'll be working on next with the club, which is really exciting, is making it even easier to buy tickets. So you can buy tickets within the app just with a couple of clicks, and then you can share those tickets again with one click to the people that are going with you. That takes out all of the hassle of ticket purchasing as well. And if you can combine that with the ability to be able to skip the queues and skip the lines, to have safety information sent to you in a personalized nature, as Luke was talking about, it reassures fans that they can come back both safely and conveniently and enjoy a great game of football, which is what they're there to do. And Luke got it bang on when he was talking about exceeding those fan expectations. This is what the modern fan expects. And what we're doing with Southampton is, already starting to show that it is exceeding that expectation.
Support for this podcast comes from Goldman Sachs. What do Goldman Sachs experts and leading thinkers have to say about trends shaping markets, industries, and the global economy? Stay informed with the latest insights from Goldman Sachs on the economic and market implications of COVID-19. Available on our podcasts at gs.com/COVID-19 or any of your favorite podcast platforms.
This episode is brought to you by the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration. When you take your eyes and your focus off the road, even for a second, it can be deadly. Not just for you, but for other drivers, pedestrians, and cyclists. Whether it's texting, scrolling media feeds, or any other form of distraction, drivers are putting themselves and others around them at great risk. It's important to know that 48 states ban texting and driving, and 25 states prohibit all drivers from using cell phones behind the wheel. Distracted drivers are not only putting people at risk, they're probably also breaking the law. Look, it's dangerous to use your cell phone behind the wheel. That's why law enforcement officers write tickets and enforce anti-texting and driving laws. When you're driving, put down your phone and keep your hands on the wheel, your eyes on the road, and your mind on the task of driving. Remember, you drive, you text, you pay.
Luke, are you finding from the modern fan, and we're seeing this in America, there are groups that are looking at mobility as a big part of the game day experience, that there are fluid seat selection, there are experiences throughout the stadium that they are anticipating being part of the match day experience. Are you seeing that in England as well?
Unfortunately, we're not seeing it right now because of the lockdown, but we are preparing for that. And I think what we're now looking at is what does this app enable us to do, and what does technology enable us to do? And I think really builds on what Adam's saying, which is fans of a football club or a sporting organisation can come into that, can engage with that club or that brand or that organisation from a lot of different entry points. So you may well come into the club via the retail digital store or the physical store, or you may well come at us from a content perspective or a social perspective. That experience needs to align and have a consistency very quickly, because otherwise you're missing out on the opportunity to meet those expectations and deliver against the need of the fan or the customer. And I think when you think about match day and how technology helps that as well, we're thinking around ways in which our big screen technology, how can that plug into the app in some way that enables our fans to engage with the experience above and beyond just watching it? So we're absolutely thinking about how we plug all of our various digital products and how we make sure our digital ecosystem is as connected as possible, very much with the customer and the fan in mind, either meeting those expectations or, as you're kind of alluding to there, what can we do in the future that we don't do already? And the app, again, is a really powerful way for us to start connecting with the current and the future technology that we're thinking about having at the stadium to enhance that experience.
I want to ask how COVID-19 has kind of shaped all of your thought as well. Obviously, the shutdown was unprecedented, and this has been probably longer than most teams and leagues had hoped it would go on for. As you have spent this time thinking about what a reopening looks like, what are some of the thought processes that you've had over there about the return of fans to sporting events?
Firstly, from a project delivery perspective, what we set out to do with this specific project, and I know you're asking more broadly than that, but with this specific project was all about, how do we make match days better? And then all of a sudden there are no match days. And I think what we've done is we've launched this app during a period whereby, its sole purpose now is actually about connecting the club with our fans. And our actual campaign around the launch was, bringing you closer to the action, very much talking to the fact that we know as a club that our fans are desperate to get back to the levels of access and levels of connection that they once had and will have again soon with the club. So that's our approach. What can we do that keeps making sure that our fans have a connection with us as a club? Because if you're not visiting a club as a fan, it's really easy for people to form new routines or get out of old ones. So we need to find ways in which we are staying connected with them, but then also finding ways to make sure that when fans are able to come back to our stadium, in whatever guise that might be, that they're excited by the prospect of doing that. And as I say, the on-pitch piece is obviously a big part of that, but how we make that experience as exciting as possible is clearly something that we're thinking about. And I think the other bit that we've worked on with Adam's team is how we can use the app from a logistics and a safety perspective. So we're integrating, we now have far more, on a match day, you have far more directions and wayfinding, physical signs around the stadium than we've ever had before, making sure people are in the right area. We've already evolved the product to accommodate those changes. And Adam, maybe can talk you through more of that, but that's how quickly we've had to evolve. We actually had to pivot the project and the product even before it was launched to take into account some of the implications of COVID.
Adam, do you want to add on to that? Can you kind of talk us through some of that?
Yeah, very happy to. And what Luke was describing there has been echoed across a number of projects and clients that we've been working with. That from COVID, we saw the need to be able to, or to have to remove any unnecessary contact points. And this is what digital in the physical world is great for. Paper ticketing, it doesn't need to exist. Cash, it doesn't need to exist. It's unnecessary contact. And how can you keep distance? And how can you communicate on a one-to-one basis with your fans? And mobile provides the route to do that. And I think what we're seeing already is the increase in adoption rates on mobile devices during and coming out of COVID is profound. That it is now the expected way to interact in the physical world, whereas before it was the minority and the early adopters. But you've got to use that device in a way that is personal and is relevant. And when you are talking about the match day experience, and what's important in coming back from COVID initially is going to be how they know where to go. Them individual, based on their ticket type, how can that interact with the environment? And with the platform that we had created, it enables that type of use case to be delivered and gives Luke and his team the tools to make those decisions, so that they know if we need to communicate in a different way, or give safety information, or give directional and wayfinding information, instead of match day content, or whatever is most relevant for the fan at that time, the platform enables them to do that. And that was very much the focus in the app rollout project with Southampton.
Adam, how do you view, and since Luke had mentioned third-party sponsors obviously can get involved with an app like this that can allow for real-time promotions with fans, are you trying to build a digital marketplace, reward systems, blockchain cryptocurrency that falls within the subset of a team or a league? And how do you kind of view that innovation in the marketplace?
For me personally, there are some areas there that I think are relevant, and some that I think aren't. Our whole ethos is being able to provide technology that enables that personalization, and that gives clubs and their teams the ability to be able to control how they communicate with fans to make that experience easier. The fundamentals of those technologies, i.e. being able to identify a fan, be able to get to them and communicate one-to-one with them through their device, and be able to understand their journey through all of the data points they interact with, enables all sorts of use cases. And, whether that be sponsorship, whether that be gaming, whether that be content, whether that be products, whether that be offers, that's not necessarily our focus. Ours is the enablement of that technology and those use cases by creating a fundamental technology underneath.
Luke, I just want you to comment really quickly on the idea of digital marketplace and blockchain. From a team perspective, how do you view those interacting with your brand?
I think the way I'd answer that, and the way we're coming at that, is about how we can reward and recognize our fans. We're a city with only one major one major football club in it. We're at the heart of that city, and I think as I alluded to earlier, there's so many different ways in which people interact with us. In addition to what I listed earlier, we have the foundation, which is a huge part of the city, and we have really strong relationships with businesses and the council. And so how we recognize our ability to have a positive influence on that community, and then how we can incorporate that, or incorporate reward and recognition within our digital products, is absolutely part of our roadmap. And how, whether that be in the form of a loyalty scheme or something similar, we see that, yes, being something that we want to progress very quickly, and we see the app as the perfect way for us to have that as a vehicle. And again, if you think about the match day experience that we talked about. And if fans are consuming with us on a match day, the ability to use that information and that insight, but in a way not just from a marketing perspective, but also to the benefit of that fan and that customer, that's the holistic experience we're looking to provide.
Adam Goodyer is the founder and CEO of Realife Tech, and Luke Nicholson is the brand and content director for Southampton FC. Thank you both so much for joining us.
Thank you.
Thank you very much, Bram.
Support for this podcast comes from today's military. You have a calling. We have an answer.
Finding your purpose can mean following a different path, and that can be intimidating, but also rewarding. Consider the unexpected by looking at today's military. You have a calling. We have an answer. Learn more at todaysmilitary.com.
On the next Future Sport podcast, the Sports Innovation Lab is helping boost equality.
We sit in the middle of the market at Sports Innovation Lab. We support the properties, the brands, the media, the tech, the investors. When you're in that room and you can hear from a diverse set of viewpoints and products and solutions and needs, you're more easily to connect and do business.
That's former gold medal Olympic hockey player Angela Ruggiero, who returns to the show to discuss her initiatives to help more women ascend and network within the executive roles of major sports. That will do it for this episode. As always, the future is now. This is the Future Sport Podcast. I'm Bram Weinstein. The Future Sport Podcast is brought to you by 3Advance, developers of sports tech apps that are AI-powered and UX-focused. So if you're looking to create some apps for your startup or your sports biz calls for some artificial or business intelligence, you should check out 3Advance. They're incredible. Go to 3advance.com. That's the number 3advance.com.